Hi everyone and welcome to episode 8 of the Beta Battle at Man United. Myself versus Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who can get the most out of Man United in the 2019-2020 season. The first thing I want to talk to you about in this particular episode is a bit of a bizarre one, but Fred now plays in China. He got sold from underneath me. They made a bid of just over £20 million. If we go to our transfer page and look at the transfer history down the bottom here on the right hand side, Fred sold to Guangzhou for 20.5 million. He wasn't on the transfer list. I hadn't tried to sell him. They'd been interested in him for a while. They put in the bid and the board of directors accepted the bid and sold him from underneath me. And it wasn't even within the main January transfer window. It was outside of that because of the Chinese window is different. And so I wasn't even able to go and find a replacement. And that was just bizarre. I don't know why they did it. I tried to stop it but couldn't. And for a club the size of Man United to start selling players from underneath me, I think was disappointing. But there we are. So what have we had to do about it? Well, the simple reason we've had to look into our youngster in our younger teams, our under-23s and our under-18s. And because we've got half a season left, I think the rest of the squad is very healthy and doing fine in terms of the backup side of things are decent enough. I was able to go and find a real youngster, Hannibal Mabry. Man United bought him in the previous summer just before I arrived, and you can see he's now 17. He's only just turned 17 in the last month or so. And he was doing a reasonable job in my under-18s and improving all the time. But you can see, for a 17-year-old, I think he's quite decent. So he's come in, he plays on the attacking midfield line, which we don't really play. So I've been trying to train him into the Metzala role, which is what Pereira and Fred have been playing for me. So I'll continue to do that and hopefully up that and give him a little bit of game time. You see, he's already had one start in the Premier League and got a 7 average rating, which is very good. So that's the player that we've had to bring in because of the fact that Fred has been sold from underneath me. And so I am disappointed by that. It's a bit disruptive for the second half of the season, but at least we were able to find one of our new youngsters to bring through and hopefully give some game time to and improve through the season. So that's the only really big bit of news that's happened. In terms of our fixtures for the last few games since we played West Ham at the beginning of February, we got a 0-0 draw at Everton, which was a bit disappointing, to be honest. It wasn't as good as I would have hoped for, but then we've won the next 3 games after that. We beat Villa 2-1 in the Premier League, we beat Monchengladbach in the Euro Cup first round knockout stage. We beat them 2-0 away from home. The second leg of that comes in today's episode in a little while from now. And we beat Norwich 1-0 at home in the Premier League. That means in terms of where we sit in the Premier League, we're currently sitting 4th. You can see that we're basically played the same amount of games now that everybody else has played. So it's all kind of on an even par. We've got a couple of teams that have already played their 28th, but not too many. And we currently sit on 57 points. Liverpool on 67 at the top of the league have played an extra game from us. I'm not suggesting that we'll catch them, but I'm hoping that maybe we'll fight for Arsenal with that 3rd spot as the last few games of the season occur a little bit later on. In terms of the Euro Cup, which of course is today's game, we get Borussia Monchengladbach, which is going to be a bit easier considering we got a decent result in the first leg. And we've got a Manchester derby coming up in the FA Cup fairly soon. If we go back to the fixture list for the schedule, you can see that we play quite a few of the big teams in the next month. We've got Man City in the Cup. We've then got Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Leicester, all still to play in terms of the bigger size in the Premier League between now and the end of the season. So just a heads up to suggest that I don't want too many more episodes of this save, just because the actual official launch date for Football Manager 20 is coming fairly soon. So we're going to rapidly go through the end of the season probably in about 3-4 episodes, something like that. So the next episode after today will probably be the game in the Premier League against Man City. Then we'll probably play Tottenham. We might put one other Euro Cup game in if we get into the latter stages, and then we'll play Leicester on the last day of the season. It'll be kind of that route that we take through to the end of this particular series. A one-season save. Who can get the most out of Man United in the 2019-2020 season. And I think, to be honest, we're doing pretty well, other than the Carabao Cup, which we don't talk about. So yeah, everything else is healthy in the club in terms of transfer budgets and stuff because of the Fred sale. Obviously, that's helped there as well. Lots of wages to play around with if we were sticking around for next season, which we're not, but if we were, that would be positive. So let's go into the tactics screen and check out the team for today's game against Borussia Monchengladbach in the Euro Cup. So we've got a couple of injuries. Obviously, Mabry, because he came late into the squad because of the sale of Fred happening outside the English transfer window, we haven't been able to register him for this competition, which was very disappointing. So it does leave us a little bit short in the midfield area if we get a couple of injuries. The injuries that we have got are primarily in the defensive area. So Luke Shaw has got another 10 days or so before he's back in action, having picked up a knock. Harry Maguire, he comes back into training tomorrow, but I won't be risking him for today. It's not worth it. Sergio Romero, the backup goalkeeper, has still got 3 weeks out. He picked up a twisted ankle about in the last week or so, which is disappointing. So he's out of contention. Because Luke Shaw is out, Muru is just coming back from an injury in terms of our other left back, but we're going to have to play him at least for part of the game. Dalot can come in and play that left side if need be, but I'd prefer to put Muru there for a little while at least and see if we can get a goal or two maybe in the first half and settle the game, and then I can make some changes as the game progresses potentially. In terms of everybody else in the squad, they're all pretty healthy and on reasonable form. You can see our recent form has been pretty good. So today's team is De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Muru at left back, Lindelof and Bailly in the centre of defence, Pereira, McTominay, Pogba in central midfield, Lingard on the right, Rashford on the left, Dembele up top, with a bench of Jones, Dalot, Chowdhury, Cook, Bowen, James and Martial. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we're at home, and the team talk that I've gone for suggests that we cannot allow complacency to undo all the good work done in the first leg. Go out there and treat this as if you're starting from scratch. That seemed to have gained a lot of focus and a bit of motivation, which is really encouraging. So hopefully that will enable us to get a positive result out of this particular match. So as I say, we're at home with the Old Trafford crowd, which is always going to be helpful to us. And we've got that 2-goal lead from the first leg. So all in all, I'm expecting a fairly comfortable day, but you can never quite tell, can you? And here they come with the first opportunity after 50 seconds and one-on-one with the keeper. Unfortunately for them, De Gea was up to it. But again, a corner kick comes in and they continue the pressure on us. But there's a loose ball that Rashford is going to pick up on. Can we counter-attack them very quickly? We can. Down the right-hand side with Lingard. There's an opportunity for a ball in, but he missed it. He then tried it too late and got blocked. There was a real opening there, I think, for Dembele, right the way in the centre of the penalty area, completely free, but Lingard spotted him too late. But we get a chance to build up again from the back and then down the right hand side. Long ball from Wan-Bissaka. Dembele makes the most of it, has a shot, but the goalkeeper gets a good hand on it, I think, and parries it over the top of the bar, and we get a corner kick. So Pereira will take the corner kick. Corner comes in to the far post, and it's Dembele on the far post. Gets a header on it, but it puts it slightly wide, and that's the end of that particular highlight, having had some good pressure ourselves. So you can see in the first couple of minutes of the game we're lacking a bit of possession, but the opportunities on goal were fairly even for the two sides. Again, we pick up a loose ball in midfield. Pogba gets it down, plays it, but a wayward pass to Lingard, who struggles to then control it, means that Monchengladbach regain possession. But Dembele nicks it off a defender, has a go at goal, but the goalkeeper stands up and blocks the shot very comfortably. Again, goes out for a corner kick. We're getting those one-on-ones, we're just not taking them, which I think is a little bit of what Football Manager 20 has in its match engine a little bit. But even so, it's positive to see that we're creating the chances. Again, we get an opportunity down the left with Dembele finding himself out there this time. Cuts it back into Muru, gets into the box, onto the edge of the box. Pogba with a long shot, but it sails over the bar. It was a decent effort, but it was a little bit wayward. Again, have we got a corner kick from this particular highlight? We have. Here comes the highlight, the corner off the highlight for Pereira to take again. again on the far post, but didn't. The defender partially cleared it. Bailly with the long shot from the edge of the box, and we maintained the pressure on them. And there's a really lovely shot from wide out left by Rashford, and he pokes it home very low to the ground, and the goalkeeper didn't really see it. So you can see the ball comes in, Bailly with the long shot, good parry from the goalkeeper. Rashford gets it back out to Pereira, comes into Dembele, who finds Rashford, and is he offside? Is he? Not sure. I don't think he was, but it looked a little bit as though he could have been. Anyway, we will take it. 1-0 up on the night, 3-0 up on aggregate. That's exactly what I was looking for in the first half. Get to half time, hopefully, with a 3-goal cushion, and it really gives us a chance to settle in for the second half, rest a few of the players, take a few players off, and hopefully go through comfortably to the next round of the Euro Cup, which is positive for all sorts of reasons. One, because it gets us further into the competition, but it also gets us a little bit of momentum. Dembele 1-on-1 again and puts it out wide left of the goal. And a little bit disappointing on that one, but the goalkeeper parried it that way, apparently. I thought Dembele just missed. But the corner comes in again, and Lindelof picks up the loose ball, rides the challenge and gets a cross in, but it's partially cleared. It's fully cleared to Embolo, who moves it forward down their left-hand side. We regain our shape though and slow down the play, and there's the half-time whistle. 1-0 up at half-time, 3-0 up on aggregate. You can see that we came into the game in the latter part of the first half. Still a bit unhappy about the possession stats a little bit, but we got a few decent shots on goal in the end, and it wasn't too bad. So let's just check out what's going on in terms of the conditioning of our players. You can see Muru is the guy that's most worse off in terms of his match sharpness, having come back from injury, so I'm not going to risk him anymore. He did a job for us for the first half. Dalot can come in and play that role reasonably well. It's not his best role, obviously, but he can just about do it. So we will leave it there. There's some complacency, so we're going to have to try and change a little bit of that assertively. Let's say you might be winning, but that could change if your performance levels drop. Don't let that happen. And that gained a bit of focus from them, which is positive. So we'll go back into the second half and see whether we can continue the pressure that we created in the first half, get a couple of attempts at goal at least, and see if we can take a couple of them. So there we go. Dalot down the right-hand side taking a throw-in. Even though he's now on the left side, I guess he's above Wan-Bissaka in my throw-in list. But that was a decent effort by Dembele, but it hits the post and comes out. Quite lucky for Monchengladbach there. And they come at us down their left-hand side from a throw-in and build up nicely through midfield. There's a long sweeping ball out wide right on top of the penalty area. Cross comes in, partially cleared by McTominay, but they pick up the ball again and come back at us down the right-hand side, cutting centrally. But we can put the pressure on. You can see we crowded them, and eventually McTominay got the foot in, and there's the fast counter-attack, and Rashford one-on-one with the keeper, and again the striker misses out and the goalkeeper wins the battle. It's a real story of this particular match, isn't it, that we're getting those chances, but the goalkeeper is doing very, very well. Second cross comes in, goes right the way over the top. Pogba with an attempt, but it's blocked again for another corner. At least we continue the pressure down the right hand side, this corner this time for Pereira to take. Where's he going to go with this one? He puts it right at the top of the 6-yard box, but the goalkeeper comes out and claims it. Easy for me to say. But yeah, you can see here Dalot with the ball wide right. Lingard cuts in. Pogba on the edge of the box keeps the possession moving in our favour, and again it goes out to Dalot down the right hand side, having taken that throw in. There was an overload on that side. Wan-Bissaka with the cross, and Dembele hits the woodwork again. I think we're being quite unlucky with our attempts. I think we're doing okay in terms of creating them, but have been a little bit unlucky on the conversion rate. So as we reach the 65th minute, we're going to go in and make a couple of substitutions at this point. And we've got a couple of yellow cards. I'm going to take McTominay off, and we're going to put Chowdhury on in his place, take away that yellow card. And then we've got Jesse Lingard, who's on a 6.5, and I'm not happy about that. So he's going to come off, and Bowen's going to come on down that right-hand side. So we'll play the last 20 minutes or so and see if we can convert another chance. And there's another opportunity that hits the woodwork. This time it was Lingard, not Lingard, was it? It wasn't Lingard, it was Lindelof on the header, and he hit the woodwork again, which is unfortunate. Again, we're being slightly unlucky. Pereira with the free kick down the right hand side. There's a better opportunity, and Dembele on the far post. Lovely free kick from Pereira with enough pace and enough accuracy to find Dembele at the far post, and he gets a simple header in the top corner of the goal. And we go 2-0 up on the day and 4-0 up over aggregate, and we can all take a bit of a sigh of relief. No offside, which is positive. And that will do it for today. I would imagine that's going to take us through to the end of the match quite comfortably. Hopefully 1 or 2 more opportunities at goal for us to have another sniff at a goal. But no, it looks like it's going to wind down, and there's the final whistle. And I think overall we played pretty well, really. In terms of the match stats of the game, you can see that we were outdone slightly on possession, which is a bit disappointing. We had loads of shots though, and we hit the woodwork probably about 4 or 5 times in the end. So all in all, I'm very happy with that. So we'll tell them that. We'll go passionately and say, I'm very happy with the way that you played. That's delighted them all, which is really encouraging, helps the motivation and the momentum for the next game, and that will send us through in the Euro Cup. So we'll go through the news feed. First leg triumph helps us. Yes, it did. We got a bit of money, not a lot, but a bit. Dembele on form, which is really encouraging. I will now go through the news feeds a little bit and get to the point where we draw the next opponent. So bear with me for a second and I'll be back. So here we are for the second knockout round draw for the Euro Cup. We'll go back in, see the 16 teams that are still there. Who have we got? We've got some decent ones still. Arsenal are in there. Bayer Leverkusen are in there. Borussia Dortmund are in there. There's us. There's Lazio. PSG, they're in there. How on earth did that happen for them in the Champions League? Roma, Sporting are in there. Wolves are in there. Wolfsburg, some decent size. It's going to be tricky to keep going in this competition, but we'll do our very best. So let's draw the next team. It's Getafe versus PSG. So we avoid PSG, which is probably a good idea at this stage. Young boys, they play Wolves. So that's a decent tie for Wolves to try and get something out of, you would imagine, in the second knockout stage. Man United, we get a home game to start our tie, which isn't always ideal, but we get Roma. If you remember, Man United dumped on Roma several years ago, but 7-1 in the Champions League. Another replay of that would be fabulous, but that's the tie that we've got. We've got Roma in the next round. Let's continue the draw. Leverkusen against, Germans against each other. Leverkusen versus Dortmund, that's a meaty tie. Sporting versus Eintracht Frankfurt. Wolfsburg against Arsenal. Tough, tricky one for Arsenal, but that's winnable, you would imagine. Rennes versus Slavia Prague, and Besiktas versus Lazio, and they got changed from the home side to the away side. I guess that's possibly because it interacts with or have they got a home ban, or they've got another thing happening in Turkey that means they can't play on that day. Who knows? But you can see that they got switched over from the home side to the away side, and it's Lazio versus Besiktas as the last of that particular tie. So Roma, going to be a tricky game. We'll see how we get on with them. There'll be some fixture rearrangements, so let's just go into the schedule and check what that's done for the next episode, if anything. You can see that it's bulked up our month of March with a lot of games now that we've got those 2 Euro Cup games in there. I think I'm going to leave the Euro out this particular time, and we are going to play through March, and I will get to the Man City game, and that's the one that will come back for the next episode as we planned to. And we'll focus a little bit on the league until maybe we're in the latter stages of the Euro Cup, and then we'll come back to it. But the next couple of episodes are definitely going to be Man City, Tottenham. Then we'll probably play Leicester and one other game if we get further into the Euros. That's for the next few episodes. But if you'd enjoyed this particular episode, if you're enjoying the series, why not subscribe to the channel, and that keeps you up to date with the videos. If you enjoyed this episode, why not like it for me? Click that like button. It's really important. It helps the growth of my channel, and I'm not getting enough likes, which is unfortunate. So people aren't seeing me as much as I'd like. So if you could help me out and like the episodes, that would be amazing, and that would really help me grow my channel. But if you're playing Football Manager yourself, let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. Always interested to hear other people's stories. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I will see you soon, and bye for now.